gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? When you were 8 and you had bad traits.
Hello everyone, welcome to Job Corps. I'm Petty Officer Romero. Today I want to talk to you about perception and professionalism, and specifically in your appearance. Now, when you started talking about getting a job, you always think about maybe your qualifications, your education, your background, but the reality of it is the higher you go up the food chain in pay, the more perception is reality. And what I mean by that is if, let's say, you go and get an $8, $9, $10 an hour job, generally speaking, you are going to interview and all the employer wants to know is, do you have reliable transportation and can they count on you to show up for work? And you'll get the job as long as that you can kind of prove to them in conversation that you have your stuff together a little bit and that you're not incompetent. You're going to get the job. As the money moves up and the requirements move up and the pay obviously goes up, then you start having to compete for jobs. Now, if you're talking about a $15, $16, $18 an hour job, when you walk into that interview, you can believe that maybe in the waiting room will be a handful of other people who are applying for the same job and that HR has already talked to many, many people for that job. Because again, the higher the pay, the more people want the job. So you could be the very best, the most qualified person for the job. But how does the employer know that? Especially if you walk in and let's say, for instance, when I started at Job Corps, it was the week that everybody was doing cleanup at the lake. People came back from the lake and their boots were muddy. And it's just coincidentally that week I'd already started talking to the students who were there about perception and about them being professional and looking a certain way. So we already started shining our boots. And then you guys came from the lake. Boots, I mean, you were working, I get it, but your boots were dirty. And my first impression was, these guys really care. Do they care what I think about them? I'm your instructor, but what if I was your employer? And what an employer looks at is someone who's willing to go above and beyond what's required of them to do the little things. It's not really about your boots. It just shows that if you take pride in your appearance, you're probably going to take pride in other things. So we started talking about, again, shining boots. Do you want an employer to think of you when you walk in as someone who's sharp and cares about not only their appearance, but how you might take responsibility at their job, at their company, how you might care more about making sure that your workspace is clean and neat, how your jobs might be be done better and more effectively, more efficiently? Do you want them to look at you in a way that says, hey, I think this person is better suited for this job than the other person before they even interview you? Because one of the things I will tell you is that when you go into a job, many times it's a feel that an employer has. There are going to be a lot of people with the exact same qualifications that you have. So are you going to impress them with the fact that your shirt's pressed and your shoes are sharp and that you're dressed for the position? Or you just think that you're going to get by with the fact that you have a good background and a resume? Because I promise you, for every resume you have out there, there's 100 of them that are just as impressive. So your one shot is striking the employer that you care about the little things, that you care about how you come across, that you care about doing the little things right. And that's the difference between getting that job and not getting a job. Now, there's a lot of other things that's included, and we'll continue to work on that. But the first thing, and this lesson is kind of pointing to, is that you want to make sure that when you walk in that door, your new potential employer, or keep in mind, sometimes there's multiple interviews. You want that first person to think highly of you to recommend you for the second interview, where you actually meet the person who potentially could be your boss. So sometimes you have to go through levels, but when you meet those people, you want them to think of you as a sharp person who cares with the background that they're looking for. All right, that's today's lesson. Get those boots shined up, get that appearance looking sharp, because when you go in that interview, you want to make a great first impression. I'm Petty Officer Romero, and this is Job Corps Learning.
Tell me you gonna do? What you gonna do? Yeah. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do